and also to introduce all of you guys to Mr. Pandu Sharir, which is a good friend and also someone I admire too. Seriously, dude. So Pandu Sharir is, if you read the news and then see, he's really one of the individual that drive a lot of the Indonesian digitalization in the past 5 years. I mean, seriously, guys, he is the head of AFTEC associations. He's also a very renowned investors. He's also, in charge of the digital economy in Kadin. He is also the chairman of Endeavor. I don't know if you guys know about Endeavor. Endeavor is one of the biggest organization in Indonesia that support impactful startup companies. And there are many others. I cannot imagine how you share your times that you can accomplish all of this. But it's really Pandu is one of the driving force for this Indonesian digitalization. Thank you. And I want to introduce all of you guys to Pandu. If you take a look, this is all Dana team. We call them Dana mates. And the reason being because mates, right? It's mate because we're all here as friends. We're all here also as colleagues that we want to achieve dreams together. And Dana mates also very similar to dynamite. We're very explosive, right? We want to push things hard, and we want to, well, not disrupt, but we want to expand things fast. So, and we do this actually every month. So thank you, and you are our first guest this year. And we want to hear a lot of insight from you. Sure. So if you have a few words just to say before we start at the moderator.
Sure. Now, first of all, thank you, Vince. I spoke at an event, Dana birthday, 2 years ago. So happy 6th birthday to Dana and to Vince, to everyone. I think, imagine with the tech winter that has happened the last 18 months, to be honest, Dana has risen very well. So congratulations with all the hard work you have achieved where you are. But with that, there's also going to be many opportunities and challenges ahead, because I think for you also, 6 is only still in primary school.
Yeah.
So you just entered primary school, so soon you will go, and then junior high school, and graduating. So it's a very exciting time to be where you are today. So I'm super excited to share whatever questions you may have, and then hopefully it can be fruitful to all of you.
Thank you so much. So without further ado, we want to start a bit with some few questions. And then after that, we leave it to the room to ask more questions, because it's very rare we have this opportunity. So Pandu, so you've been in this investment, you have a lot of investment experience and in the past few years, and you've seen a lot of dynamism and things change rapidly, right? So like you said, recently there is a what we call it tech winter. And that's impacting a lot of our peers in the startup communities. So what do you think, when do you think this tech winter is going to last? And what do you think that we, as especially fintech startup, should do to survive this tech winter?
To be honest, I think the tech winter in the global world has left a couple of months ago. And the reason why I say that, if you look at the largest market capitalization today, 90% actually came from tech the last 6-9 months.
Yeah.
But that's due to one word, AI. So if you see the largest market capitalization of the top 10 companies in the world, has actually all come from AI, right? So AI, in my view, will be like internet. It'll be as important as internet. Some people say maybe more important. I was just in the US for 7 days, and there's the two things that every university talk about is either AI or energy transition. Now, for everyone here, what does it mean for us? My view, actually, old tech in a way has to change itself a bit. How are you using AI for your everyday lives and also for your business? I know some of you talk about it. To be honest, I don't know enough. I'm not dangerous to know about AI, but I'm learning. Every day I'm learning, you know. So I'm still a newbie. I start investing a little bit here and there, still learning. But I think for somebody like yourself, especially in fintech, there is a lot of usage of AI across your business. So in my view today, right, I would say the AI winter or the tech winter globally has disappeared. But what does it mean for your business? If you don't have a strategy comprising AI, or your leadership is not thinking of AI, you have to start thinking. And this is something where it's fundamental to your business.
Yeah.
Is AI overhyped? Maybe yes it is. Why? Because it's something new. But is AI have great utility? Yes it is. Right? This is similar when I was talking about crypto, right? People say, crypto, no utility. Look where prices of crypto is today, right? To be honest, the fundamental is there. The hype changes here and there. So don't separate the two, right? Between the hype and the fundamental. If you study a bit about AI, you have to look at three things. You look at the upstream of AI, the midstream of AI, and then the downstream. Where I put you guys as is probably the downstream, closest to your customer. In the upstream, which is the open AIs of the world, Indonesia today cannot compete. Why? We don't have the SDM. Sumber daya manusia we just don't have. To be honest, the top programmers of AI, in my view, is all in the US, some in Israel, very little in India, right? China, to be honest, is behind a bit today because of processing. Just don't have the processing. The midstream, this is where Indonesia can come in, and I think some of your shareholders are looking at it, which has to do with digital infrastructure. In Indonesia, still very new. It's being developed. Now the downstream is where you're closest to customer. For your business is what you do with lending. How do you think about lending and using AI to be able to do that process both in giving and collecting, right? Number two, of new customer acquisition with respect to marketing. And the big opportunity for you, my view, this is my view, just knowing Dana the last couple of years, is actually in the rural area, we were talking before, where there is not much competition, right? There's only one bank, your competition. And how are you able to use AI to outleap that bank? So it's a question, I'll leave it to you, figure it out with your management, but this is the big opportunity in rural area. So, my view is that for Dana today, if I have to think, if I'm in your shoe, I want to do lending. I need to maybe get a multi-finance, maybe a bank, work with a bank, or buy a bank, right? But a big one. Told the guys, if you need to buy a big one. Not don't buy a small one, right? So I tell your shareholders, got to buy a big one. But how do I have a deep AI strategy? And with that, to be honest, if you have a very good one in the downstream, to be honest, money is there.
Thank you so much, Mandu. So, guys, when I said things about AI, so now you've seen from the other external point of view as well. This is something that we cannot just leave it behind. We cannot just ignore it as a complete hype, right? I mean, this is something that we need to get into it, and we need to experiment. I think that's very important for all of us to understand what is it. And Pak Pandu shared the best sentence that I heard recently. You need to separate between the hype and the utility. So if we really believe in it, we need to find out how it can actually be a great utility for us and for our users. Thank you so much, Pak Pandu. And now we also want to hear, because you are also the chairman of NAFTEC, right? So how does the regulator play a part in getting this, increase in penetration, especially to the rural area?
Okay, so my top of mind today, the biggest problem, regulators always going to be at best 6 months behind. Base case, 12 months behind. Worst case, always behind 2 years, 3 years, right? Jadi, to be honest, our OJK quite good, right? There is a problem, then they'll figure it out because they want to get risk on. Top of mind for all of us, P2P, right? For me, P2P too. But this is almost like I told you so, karena I've been chatting about this, there's a problem. Last October, I highlighted to OJK, there may be one bad actor, which is now in the news, that this thing is gonna blow up, and it has, right? So what OJK done is clamping down. But I guess this is for Dana again, it's an opportunity because you are one of the few that survive and thrive. So then the question now for OJK with respect to regulation, they're very sensitive with respect to anything to do with P2P. Why? Because this is both money received from lenders and usually individuals, a lot of individuals given to borrowers. The problem is always the middleman. Do you trust the middleman or do you trust the broker? It's a broker issue. What has happened recently to Investri, I said, it's really a broker issue, institutional trust. So for Dana, aku selalu nitip ke semua direksi duduk di depan, it's all about trust, right? You have to maintain and manage the trust for your customers, for your stakeholders, right? And then obviously the regulators, because this is what you will see in business. Regulators will increase capital in the business that you're in. They will ask for more, which is benefit to all of you here. It happens because you're a big company, right? So what will happen, you will see there's going to be less players in P2P. There'll be less players in fintech all around. There's going to be actually increased players in fintech related to application, related to AI. Nah, ini yang terjadi 3 years ago when they have a lot about talking about credit scoring, business related to the back office that you have, right? Nah, credit scoring juga nanti bakal mengecil, will get smaller. Because there's only going to be a couple of platforms, similar to China, similar to the US. The question that I will have is, will regulator own shares in this back office businesses like credit scoring? Karena you guys probably have a credit scoring system too. And you are an open platform, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yes,
for you benefit the most, right? Because if you have a credit scoring across all fintech, it will lower your costs of capital, essentially. Jadi menurut saya, there's going to be quite a bit of changes this year with respect to regulators. I think it will benefit more bigger players. If any of you thinking about doing your startup, okay, because usually that's what happens in big companies.
Yes.
Usually, director -1, director -2 udah mikir, startup apa ya? But usually if you do it, it has to be using AI. Tapi jangan bilang, AI, slap an AI into it. Don't worry, we're among the VC business also got much smaller. And in my VC business, to share, I'm trying to get smarter about AI. So what is happening? We're hiring people from outside, from the US, very specific, US, to be able to learn, what is all this AI mean? Jadi ini sekarang perubahan tuh goes both ways, in the funder side and then the company side. Regulation, for sure, it will increase, tapi I think to your benefit today.
Wow, that's a really good thing to hear. I think it's pretty amazing also that, one of our key principle of Dana, from the very beginning, we already set up ourselves as open platform, and we haven't changed. That's from the start, because we believe there should not be walled gardens, but there should be a platform that everybody can enjoy, everybody can use, and then we collaborate with everyone. So, for example, like Pak Pandu was saying, right? I mean, there is really not that many players into this rural or fourth-tier cities, that when we see. In fact, so now, rather than competing with that bank, we're actually working together with that banks.
Good.
So, because we see an opportunity that we can make good, effective solutions and work to improve efficiency together. So, wow, guys, we're heading to the right directions. But one thing that is also been a concern lately, because with the fast improvement of these digitalizations to every segment of the market, there's been some concern about the increase in fraud, the increase in scam, and especially the increase in, as one of the issues you point out, in good corporate governance. So what is it your suggestion for us, companies such as ours, to have a solid, good corporate governance?
Good question. Karena ini been the last 18 months mungkin fokus utama saya. Kalau bahasa saya even ke co-founder, institusi di atas segala-galanya. Institution above all. So I don't care if you're a co-founder, you own X%. If you don't focus on this, then I'm sorry, we have to replace you. Karena institution is above all. Jadi itu mungkin balik lagi, a lot of in our business we always like to say founders friendly. I like to call myself, yes, I'm founders friendly, but at the same time we also respect the institusi di atas segala-galanya lah. Itu jadi mungkin pemikiran utama ya. Nah, corporate governance itu, to be honest, it's a check and balance, and it helps all of you working. So you have feeling of security, hey, that this business will be around. It's not controlled by one person. It's not just Vince. If Vince makes a mistake, boom, there's no more Dana, right? Because Vince is a very important stakeholder in the business, but Dana is above all. Yeah. Jadi itu mungkin cara pemikiran yang mungkin sangat penting. So one thing, I guess I applaud you for this. Dana, to be honest, the last 6 years have been the least amount of drama, bisa dibilang. Itu penting, karena this is institutional, ya kan? Saya kalau ngeliat baca e-commerce paling dikit soal Dana gitu kan. Ya paling dikit lah, ini semua relatif kan. Tapi ini penting, kenapa? Karena untuk orang mau bekerja ya kan dengan penuh hati, kan it's not just the mind, it's also your heart. You want to work in a company di mana ya we work with respect dan besoknya masih ada kejelasan. That's it. So simple itu. Nah, credit to all the management team, they work about the institution. Even dengan ada pergantian dengan pemegang saham segala, to be honest, it's quite stable. So in a way, be proud where you work, be focused what you want to do, not just today, tomorrow, dan ini juga bagus, always give feedback, right? Ini sangat penting. Jadi buat saya corporate governance itu bisa dibilang segala-galanya, Vince. Jadi ya, I have been the last 12 months banyak sekali drama yang ada di perusahaan teknologi, but we've done it, we replace CEO, mungkin saya udah 6 perusahaan. Wow. I've replaced both CEO, CFO, COO, semuanya, tapi ya company-nya now much better. Kenapa? Karena semua merasa fokus, jadi saya nggak ngeliat hanya direksi -1 dan -2. That's as far as I can go after that. Tapi ya ini penting, kalau ininya tenang dan fokus, biasanya perusahaannya juga jadi fokus, jalan, gitu loh. Kalau masalah, apa sih yang nggak ada masalah di perusahaan? Di hidup apa yang nggak ada masalah? Kalau nggak mau punya masalah, kamu di surga, ya kan? Lebih gitulah, ya kan? Tapi yang fokus adalah jelas mau kemana. Apalagi dengan adanya tech winter, menurut saya semua fokus kepada bukan saja growth at all costs, tapi grow secara sustainable. Nah ini yang penting, ya kan? Grow at sustainable itu penting. So why? Tadi saya bilang, Kanda baru tahun ke-6. Saya mau ke tahun ke-12 diundang lagi nggak nih? Ya 12 tahun Dana, ya kan? Ya Vince ya? Nah, jadi ini penting, jadi ke depannya gimana? Nah, jujur, nih sekarang biar nanti bisa ngomong-ngomong pertanyaan. My gut feel, as Dana evolve, kalian bakal banyak orang-orang bule masuk. Apalagi kalau kalian mau main di AI. Jangan kecil hati kalau ada orang-orang bule. Malah, what I will ask Vince, get as much knowledge transfer as you can. Karena untuk Indonesia tech bisa maju, you have to embrace AI. Gimana sih untuk bisnis kita, ya kan? Kalau untuk upstreamnya tadi saya bilang, mungkin hanya ada 3-4 pemain. Di Cina sekarang ada 5, dari 5 mungkin jadi 3, ya. Tapi di downstream, jujur, the most likely winner seharusnya orang-orang seperti Dana yang udah punya baseline yang bagus. But you need the next 12 months, focus on a strategy. You'll make mistake, it's okay. Hire people that somehow know about AI, and most likely bule. Most likely, 99.9% most likely orang bule. And it's okay, hire a team. Mungkin kalau ini salah, gini, nggak apa-apa. Tapi the next 2 years is a discovery stage for each one of us. How do we do it? Untuk bisa implementasi, gitu loh. Jadi ya menurut saya perubahan yang bakal banyak terjadi adalah bagaimana mengimplementasi AI across the different business strategies.
Thank you so much, Pak Mandu. That's a really good advice. Really, guys, seriously, that's really good advice. And one thing is what Papa Padu said, right? Don't get discouraged, because, and you guys know how we do things, right? We're always very transparent. We always say each other, tell each other what's going on. So in fact, Papa Padu, in Dana, there is a very little meeting that is close to anyone inside Dana. So any meetings, except when we tell in advance, oh, this is a confidential meetings that related, none of you the business as usual. Anyone can join. So that's why everyone can see every time how to improve things. And so we should adopt the same things, right? I mean, when we want to improve ourselves, don't be afraid to hire. Don't be afraid to get someone expertise, bule, because that's where the talent is right now. So we need to learn as much as possible and absorb the knowledge. So Dada, we always have been priding ourselves, for the longest time. We are 99.9% local, and we've always been able to do things, but we also need to start learning things. So don't be afraid. And the point of 99.9% local is not because we have to be local, it's because we believe when we started, I think it's good enough. Now the world started to evolve, and then we need to see what's the changes, and let's try to learn as much as possible, because at the end of the day, we all know that mostly if we hire externally, they're not going to stay forever. They also want to see experience. They also want to have some things, usually 2 or 3 years maximum. Then we learn from them, and then we can then also evolve ourselves much more quicker than if we do everything trial and error ourselves, right? So that's a great advice. So this time I want to leave the room for some questions, because we have such a really rare occasions having Papandu here. So I want to have at least 3 questions from any one of you guys. And if you guys don't, I will do it myself again. So yes, please do.
Okay, so hello Pandu, thank you for sharing. Very insightful. My name is Edo. I'm from engineering. I got 2 short comments and 1 question. So first of all, I totally agree with you regarding Dana's management. We has less drama, we cut the layoffs, so that's and kudos for the management. That's a very good thing. And regarding AI, you said that China is a little bit behind, right? I would say US is a little bit in advance, but in terms of the LLMs and images. So depends on our purpose. If we're going to look for recommendation for credit scoring, I guess we can still learn from China. I mean, you said bullying, right? But we don't want to close the pool only from US, I would say. But so those are my 2 comments. My question would be, you're an investor, right? So in investment, we know that about baskets where you invest. Dana, as a company, we're looking for profit right now, and we have projects to, or features to generate profit. But you also mentioned about investing in AI stuff, right? So, how would you suggest us in varying on percentage, how much percent we should focus on, the basics, making profit, and how much in, exploring the AI stuff? 60-40, 70-30. So that's
Okay,
it.
good question.
Okay, good question. Jadi overall, it's true. When I talk about AI, ini has to do, to be honest, a lot with respect to the processing power. Mau nggak mau sekarang Nvidia probably holds 90%, 80 to 90%. And frankly speaking, my view, AI itu sebenarnya as a national security issue. It's almost as deep as that.
It is.
Kayak setiap negara tuh needs its own LLM. Kalau nggak ada, sejarah kita aja bisa diubah. Kalau kamu tergantung Gemini atau OpenAI for your own, kalau Gemini kalau Anda percaya Google always say, do no evil. Kan itu kan waktu IPO dia tulis do no evil, that's the motto of Google. Ya seharusnya Gemini kayak gitu kan. Jadi ya seharusnya bener. Yang saya takutin 10 tahun dari sekarang, anak kamu umur 5 tahun, 6 tahun, pergi AI tulis kemerdekaan Republik Indonesia kapan? 8 Agustus 1942. And people take it, oh that's a fact because AI says so. So in my view, AI itu is almost a national security. That's how important it is. Kita setiap negara needs to have its own LLM, right? Jadi itu satu dulu. I park it there. Nah, soal Cina tuh kenapa agak di belakang? And they'll catch up. Don't worry. is because they now need to develop its own. Huawei, Baidu, semua your shareholder itu semua lagi berlomba. Karena it has to play catch up, like it or not, right? To develop this. Jadi menurut saya it's a fundamental thing. I'm just saying somebody will win this the next 5 years. I don't know who. Hopefully you guys will also be one melakukan ini. Nah, soal investment. What you've been doing the first 5-6 years, the good thing about you say you're open wall. You say this is the thesis of my business. This is my reason to exist. I developing my moat. My moat tuh maksudnya my strength in the businesses that you're in. Jadi dengan ini, it's hard to replace a Dana. Today, if somebody wants to make a brand new Dana, it's very expensive. It's cheaper maybe to buy Dana than to build a new Dana. That's why I know you're building a good business. Okay? Nah dari sisi itu, when you talk about investment, it's almost the AI itu sebenarnya the real answer kalau ngomong pragmatis is actually a SaaS business. It's a SaaS business using AI. Who's developing this? All the Indian guys. Why India? Because they're closest to America. So America give them access. Why not China today? Because China is not getting the access. As simple as that, okay? Nah, sebenarnya Indonesia bisa bikin bisnis ini sendiri, the SaaS, but you just need the human capital programmer. So that's why one of the things, if you want to shortcut this, you need to have di Dana contohnya, you probably need to have your own program to send your engineers, young engineers, to go to the US for a year or two, kayak LPDP, 2 tahun kirim, bayarin, tapi lo harus balik lagi ke gue 2 tahun plus 1 atau 2N plus 1. Kalau LPDP lo bikin deh 3 tahun aja, learn there, karena you need to be there. There's only a couple of good schools, MIT, NYU, and also obviously Stanford, right? If not Stanford, maybe Berkeley. Kenapa? Lo perlu deket to the center. So you send a year, 2 years your engineers, tapi you have to come back. Mau nggak mau bro, karena to be honest, you have to do this the next 5 years. If not, we're really gonna be behind. Gitu loh. Jadi menurut saya sih, it's such a good question. If you talk about investment, aku nih orangnya absolute. You already built the moat. You have to do the business. Any new capital expenditure has to be related to AI. Yang udah ada ya business ongoing. Any new one has to be related to AI.
Thank you, Pak Pandu. Just a quick tidbit, he actually a great example of someone that we pay to learn in Carnegie Mellon and then come back to us. So
Carnegie
that's
Excellent
amazing.
School, yeah.
That's the guy.
Fantastic school.
Salam kenal Pak Pandu, saya Wulung. Saya memimpin tim data science dan machine learning di sini. Jadi senang sekali bidang kerja saya disebut berkali-kali oleh Pak Pandu. Dan insya Allah adik-adik saya di sini Pak berdiri sama tinggi, hidup sama rendah dengan bule-bule yang di sana. Insya Allah. Pertanyaan saya Pak Pandu sebagai investor mungkin juga sudah melihat apa yang terjadi dengan perusahaan pesawat terbang Boeing di Amerika gitu kan ya. Karena terlalu banyak fokus pada margin, pada profitability, quarter earning, sisi engineering-nya hilang. Menurut Pak Pandu, apakah ini applicable juga untuk tech, fintech dan tech company di Indonesia?
Kira ngomongin OpenAI. Karena itu OpenAI juga ada fundamental, lagi ada perubahan di dalam.
Yeah.
Between what you say, focusing really on engineering, or simply focusing on profit. And balancing the two for any tech companies ini fundamental. Kalau lo hanya fokus profit at all cost, itu yang terjadi. You will lose the trust, the soul of the business. Jadi ini kenapa Elon sue OpenAI is actually that. Related fundamentally, what is this OpenAI supposed to be? They should just call it close AI. Kan kayak kurang lebih gitu kan. Karena for OpenAI, for Microsoft, it becomes their new story. Nah ini jadi between us lah. Itu that's what's going on in America too. Well, Gemini is doing its own thing, ya kan? Karena do no evil. Itu kan Google selalu ngomongnya gitu, ya itu diulang-ulang terus. Jadi bagian dari kultur mereka. Nah, balik ke kita sendiri di sini. To be honest, a lot of our founders are young, and sometimes a bit too young. Saya salah saya dan mungkin banyak visi lain. We over glorify founders. Kita bilang founders hebat. Kita masukin ke Forbes 30 under 30. What have you done? 30 less than 30 years old, right? Or 40 under 40. I mean, I am to blame, to be honest. Jadi I'm here to blame. Kenapa? Karena bagian dari visi, kita hebat ya, kita invest ke seorang founder, berhasil fundraising yang besar. Ketika kita ubah 2021-22, you have to look for profit. I've never done it before. How do I do it? Nah, banyak mereka melakukan cost cutting tanpa mengerti bagaimana melakukan cost cutting. Ini 99%, right? Jadi di situ you need a certain level of maturity di situ. Makanya balik lagi di satu perusahaan, and I think you guys know it best, okay? So I'm not gonna say, Dana hebat atau tidak, tapi balik ke kita bagaimana melihat suatu perusahaan itu bisa balancing between having very good cost of engineering or investment into engineering and also profitability. The two has to go hand in hand. Karena engineering is about investing for the now and the future. You're always building your moat. Tapi kalau nggak ada profitabilitas, gimana nih perusahaan bisa jalan? Jadi itu yang berdua yang harus selalu dibalance lah. I mean, Amazon took 25 years to balance it, right? Now they found it, and in fact, all their business not come from selling stuff, it's actually from selling the cloud, right? It's building the infra. That's what they have. That's the most valuable thing for them. Jadi menurut saya, the business of engineering is the heart of your business. What you're doing is the heart of the business, and you always need to be feed investment. Itu penting.
Okay. If you don't mind, Pak Pandu. So 3 more questions. Okay, please.
Halo Pak Pandu, saya Brika dari tim one of our product team here in Dana. First of all, I want to say thank you for your sharing. We can all agree that we are educated with all your insights. But my question is maybe about a bit personal, and if you don't mind me asking, do you have like any insights or perspective on the top 3 top 3 places that we can do investment like for our own money?
Oh, okay.
Ooh, good job.
Yeah, boleh. Jadi ini biasa ya, kan aku I don't know your financial situation, but kalau kamu di bawah 30 dan kamu kerja di Dana, kalau kamu ada kesempatan dapat S2, ambil S2. Buy into S2. Especially if Dana can help, right? Pak, Vin, saya diterima di MIT nih. Bisa bantu pendanaan nggak? Kamu masukin duit di situ. Karena it's proven over time that will pay almost 10 times more. Right? In terms of your potential income. Di bawah 30, ya kan? Antara 30-40, kamu udah mulai harus investasi. Menurut saya selalu beli pasar modal. Karena saya kebetulan komisaris bursa.
Ya.
Nah, kalau saya di komisaris bursa, saya pasti jualan bursa. Tapi beli saham blue chip.
Ya.
Kan Dana belum TBK. Jadi ya harus masuk saham-saham blue chip yang kamu udah tahu. Nabung aja terus. Kalau per hari ini saya selalu bilang, bond is a good place to park money. I like bond today. Like if you can buy bond, the government pays you 6-7%, essentially risk-free, take it. Kalau misalnya Anda beli saham, saya selalu cari yang ada dividen. Kalau Anda dapat 5% dividen, habis itu bisa naik lagi sahamnya. Kalau apalagi perbankan, I think banks will do very well the next 12-18 months. So buy banks, just close your eyes, buy banks, right? Now above 40, a bit different, like me, you need to have a balance. If you like to own a house, I'm always against house. I'm a guy who doesn't like owning a house. Di Indonesia, specifically middle to upper. I'll tell you why. Borrowing costs you what? 7%, 8%, 9%. The yield on that house, all this direct di depan, is only 3%, 4%. Beda sama di Amerika, it flips. Beda di Singapura, except you get 60%. Right? Tapi ya poinnya adalah the carrying cost is about 5%. And if you say, Pak, harganya bakal naik, harga rumah. Untuk yang ini upper class ya. Jadi if you talking 10 BO ke atas, it's not attractive. Kalau saya attractive, 5 BO ke bawah, very attractive for housing. Kenapa? Dibantu pemerintah. So it depends, right? So I always say stocks. I love stocks. Over time, the last 10 to 12 years, you'll probably double, triple your money in the large caps, right? Tambah dividen, and nggak usah minjem. No need to borrow. Jadi itu investasi ya. Kalau ngomong di bawah 30 ke atas. Kalau 40 ke atas ya, if you need to buy a house because peace of mind. Karena anything about owning houses, etc. has to do a lot with pribadi, has to do a lot with feelings, nothing to do about numbers. I bought a house because my wife told me buying a house. And I always say, if you need to buy a house, if you can afford two, then buy one. If you can't afford two, don't buy any. Tapi itu saya. Jadi orang beda-beda, okay? Jadi I always love owning businesses. To be honest, real estate di Jakarta is my least like, the one I like the least. Nah, gitu aja deh.
Oh, thank you so much. Great advice. Okay, two more dari online. Okay. Let me read it for you, Pak Pandu. What do you envision for Indonesian tech workers 10 years from now? Do you think our government support the transition? Do you think we can keep up with the knowledge like other country?
Government gives big picture, menjagain, ya kan? I think OJK has done that very well for the business that we're in. And to be honest, for it to be successful, the Indonesia better private sector lead, right? And government in a way create the framework, right? Tapi if government lead, that's a different story. And our country is too big to have that. Jadi menurut saya sih the next 20 years it'll still be private led. Private companies will lead it, right? And private companies will have all the innovation. Government will be there to support. Karena siapa yang nggak mau teknologi? And I think it's getting better. AI ini saya ngulang terus deh sampai ini karena AI ini kalau kita nggak ngapa-ngapain,
Betul.
kita bisa ke belakangnya tuh bisa 20 tahunan.
Betul.
Menurut saya perbedaan antara kita sama Amerika mungkin 10 tahunan lah. Tapi kalau kita nggak ngapa-ngapain bisa 20 tahun. Gitu. My biggest fear. Jadi kalau saya ketemu orang pemerintah sekarang, saya ngomongin AI terus. Kamu ngerti nggak? Saya juga nggak ngerti. Saya jujur ngomong, saya nggak ngerti, tapi saya belajar terus. I go to the US now only learning about AI. What the hell is going on there? Saya barusan dari Amerika, saya pergi ke Boston, saya pergi ke Chicago, saya pergi ke New York. Saya nanya sama semua tuh profesor-profesor. Kalau di Chicago hanya ngomong soal public policy related to AI. Kalau di MIT, anak-anak saking pinternya, gue nggak ngerti mereka ngomong apa, gue iya pinter. Ada anak, and you know the one thing I'm proud, ini agak melenceng dikit ya, mungkin gara-gara LPDP. Jadi gara-gara LPDP itu ke pertumbuhan orang Indonesia di sekolah-sekolah top tuh udah naik 10 kali lipat. Nah itu keren. Columbia ada 300 anak Indonesia. Harvard ada hampir 100 anak Indonesia sekarang.
Wow, that's a lot.
Di MIT ada 50 anak Indonesia.
That's quite a lot.
Terus di Chicago ada 110 anak Indonesia. Saya tanya 10 tahun lalu berapa? Nolnya aja dikurangi.
Iya, betul.
Jadi ini perkembangan, makanya saya bilang nih LPDP game changer. LPDP 10 tahun yang lalu 700 juta US. Sekarang almost 10 billion US. 10 billion. Dan ini dana abadi kan. Jadi saya bilang ini persembahan gift of Bu Sri Mulyani, the most important gift for the nation adalah ini. Makanya saya bilang nih buat dana lagi, muter-muter bro. Muter-muter ke Amerika, cari orang anak-anak Indonesia tuh banyak yang bagus-bagus. Saya cari buat 3 orang di Kadin sama beberapa di company saya, dapat resume 150-an dari 4 sekolah itu. So this is the perfect time to recruit. Sekarang nih. Perfect time to recruit. Dan ini bukan S1 ya, ini S2 semua nih. Jadi ada yang master engineering, saya ketemu 3 anak pemenang olimpiade matematika. Aduh, lucu-lucu gitu orang yang nyantai-nyantai beli kita hanya kasih bukber doang, happy bro. Langsung apa? Murah. Jadi gue bilang, this is the best time. Kalau dulu ingat kan, recruiting orang di Indonesia, ampun susahnya ya kan. Ini jago-jago semua, Olympiad winner kita kasih makan. Thank you Pak, mau apply di mana nih? For free food.
Wow.
So this is honestly, there's so many excellent talent out there. You just have, bedanya kita yang harus jemput bola.
Ya, betul.
Jangan nungguin kita yang harus ke sana untuk jemput. Mau ke Amerika kan?
So, tapi this is amazing what you said, right? And also opportunity. It's funny. I met 3 days ago. I was in Tokyo. I had a lunch with a friend of mine, also a winner of Indonesian Olympic silver medalist for global math competition when he was in high school. But he doesn't want to come back. Kenapa? Udah nyaman kelamaan di sono. So sebelum mereka kenyamanan, let's bring them back.
Aku juga ngelobi satu lagi ke sekolah-sekolah sana. Kalau lo orang mau S3 dan full time kerja di sana, misalnya di Chicago, di MIT, lo tolong dong rekrut orang-orang Indonesia untuk masuk bikin klaster-klaster Indonesia tapi di sekolah top. Dengan itu, kan pendanaan research tuh besar di sekolah-sekolah ini. Yang ngelit orang Indonesia. Di Chicago tuh udah ada. Satu sekarang ada profesor, orang Indonesia, mereka dia yang rekrut-rekrut. Orang-orang Indonesia masuk economics program Chicago, which is the hardest in the nation. Kita pengen tuh ngebangun kasarnya cluster. Nah, kenapa ini terjadi? Karena sekarang, sorry to say, Chinese is gone. Semua China yang dulunya masuk ke sekolah-sekolah ini di-replace sama orang Indonesia salah satunya. Jadi curi kesempatan.
Keren. Okay, so last question. Sebenarnya tadi ngelanjutin, cuma ini khusus kenapa we don't have our own government-backed solution for national credit score.
Ya, itu lagi dikerjakan. Jawabannya gitu. Jadi yang soal credit scoring ini kan ada beberapa masuk ke sandbox. To be honest, now government specifically OJK, is looking at a solution, apakah seperti di Cina, atau misalnya di Amerika. Kalau di Cina, pemerintah mempunyai saham. Kalau di Amerika, dibilang hanya ada 3 atau 4 pemain yang boleh melakukan ini dan harus open di antara mereka, ya kan? Nah, jadi ini memang sedang dikerjain, lagi dipikirin, what's the best solution for this, ya kan? Dan apakah nantinya gini, kalau misalnya hanya ada 1 atau 2, boleh nggak misalnya, kan pasti semua bakal minta, mau dana atau saingan yang lain, boleh nggak ada saham dikit-dikit di sana, ya kan? So allow, jadi biar punya accessibility. My view is not a problem karena pemainnya makin dikit. It's just a couple of people kan. Poinnya sekarang adalah as bisnis ini makin banyak scrutiny, saya rasa memang the role of government will be there, apalagi untuk isu seperti credit scoring, which is fundamental to the business that you're in. Kurang lebih gitu.
Thank you. I mean, so how can we be part of that? I mean, we'll be happy to support actually.
Ya nanti terpisah.
Ya, terima kasih banyak atas inputnya hari ini.